Hi, and welcome to the Bible Tribe. Word of the Day. I'm Denise Pass with Seeing Deep Ministries, where we see deep in a shallow world and overcome the battles of the mind with the Word of God. There are a lot of personal goals we make every year, some short-term, others long-term. But there is no greater goal than to be saved and to live and love others like Jesus did. Reading today in the book of 1 Timothy, chapters 1 through 3, and the verse of the day is 1 Timothy 1:5. But the goal of our instruction is love from a pure heart, from a good conscience, and from a sincere faith. Word of the day is goal. It is the Greek word telos. It means end, aim, or purpose. The Greek English lexicon says the goal toward which a movement is being directed, end, goal, or outcome. A group of leaders infiltrating the church at Ephesus with bad doctrine led Paul to write his first letter to Timothy on how to address the problems in the church, specifically people who were teaching false doctrine that was dividing the church and creating controversy. Reading from 1 Timothy 1, verses 3 through 7, it says, "As I urged you when I went into Macedonia, stay there in Ephesus so that you may command certain people not to teach false doctrines any longer, or to devote themselves to myths and endless genealogies. Such things promote controversial speculations rather than advancing God's work, which is by faith. The goal of this command is love, which comes from a pure heart and a good conscience and a sincere faith. Some have departed from these and have turned to meaningless talk. They want to be teachers of the law, but they do not know what they are talking about or what they so confidently affirm." Just as there were issues in the New Testament church, there are issues today in the church that need to be addressed. And y'all, it's hard to address issues, just as it was back then. But just as Paul encouraged Timothy to not shrink back, but to deal with the sin in the church, we need to do that today. But how we do it matters. Paul emphasized the primary goal of love. Our motivation to correct should always stem from a desire to restore, not judge. Having a pure heart, a good conscience, and sincere faith are also imperative to being able to speak into other people's lives. We need to examine ourselves first. The goal in correction is ultimately the glory of God, and that the church would be a good witness to the lost. How do you deal with sin in your church or family camp? For us to be able to correct others, we need to first make sure we are correct. Don't take people's struggles personally. People can become offended when their sin is addressed, but we have to love them more than fearing they won't like us when we love them enough to share the truth with grace to them. Go with God and His precious word, friends. Join us tomorrow in the book of Numbers.